Hi everyone, I just wanted to share some of these orchids with you guys. Excuse the mess in the background. That's all my son. He's down for a nap right now. I'm about to actually go get him from his nap in a few minutes. But first, I want to share these orchids with you guys. This is kind of in response to Holy City Orchids, her video on death of an orchid. And I want to send out a shout out to her and Miss Orchid Girl. They are some of the two people that I've been really watching on YouTube. They have a lot of good videos, and I've learned quite a bit from them. And Holy City Orchids, she got me this. She got me into this catasetum fever, so I ended up getting this Signotes Wine Delight. So like I said, I blame you for that. But I'm actually really glad I have it. So I started, I kind of got into this collection of Neophanetia falcatas. They're Japanese orchids, and they're not really easy to find here in the United States. I know some of you have them, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more of you that don't, and probably don't know much about them. But yeah, this is called the Setsuzan. It's a tiger stripe variety, and you can kind of see where it's got like a little bit of yellowness. That's the tiger stripe that they have, and the more light that you give them, the more striping they'll get on them. But you got to be careful with how much light you give them, because you could give it too much light and just wipe out the entire plant. So yeah, you just got to be watchful of the amount of light you're giving them. So I'll be trying to take it easy with that. This right here was my first Neophanetia, and I got this from the greenhouse right down the street from where I live. This Japanese lady works there. She's really nice. She was really giving them a hard push, so she convinced me to get it, and that's what started me on this Neophanetia fever as well. Anyway, yeah, so this was my first one, and I kind of overwatered it, and the roots died, and I thought it was dead. I mean, it started dropping leaves left and right. And these plants, I guess once a year they'll start like another growth. As you can see, it's not really established there because it doesn't have many roots at all. Actually, none. But yeah, it'll throw out another fan, and yeah, it's about once a year, and they bloom spring, early summer. But they're not really. I guess the Japanese, they don't really judge them by the flowering. The flowering is not such a big deal with them as they are with some of the other orchid species out there. But I guess they're more enjoyed for their foliage, because they're pretty interesting to look at. And over time, as they grow, they turn kind of bushy, and they are really cool to look at. Anyway, so yeah, I thought this thing was gonna die, but it just seems like I've noticed over the past couple of weeks, the last week, that they started, actually the middle one and this one, and actually all three of them, actually they're starting to put out these little nubs, and they look like roots to me. So I'm crossing my fingers that they'll just continue to grow, and it hasn't dropped a leaf in about a month. So I guess that's a good sign. Anyway, so I thought this guy was dead, and I went and I bought this guy and this guy in the back. They're not Neophanetia falcatas, they're hybrids. And so this Japanese lady, her name is Chieko. I want to give her a shout out too. I'm sure she doesn't have YouTube. She's a little older, but really nice. She's a sweet lady. Yeah, so I showed her these the other day. I brought them to the greenhouse so that she could, take a look at them. And she said that this wasn't a Neophanetia falcata, and that I didn't need to pot it like this because it's a hybrid, that I could just throw it in some bark like this one. So I guess that was kind of her turning up her nose at this one because it's not a Fukiran, which is kind of like a samurai. It's like a nobility thing with these orchids because they used to be collected by like shoguns and nobility in Japan back in the olden days, I guess. But yeah, and this is a Shuteno. Now these Neophanetias, they're all fragrant. So I'm really excited to have them flower. This one's got 3 spikes, I think, that are about to emerge sometime in these warmer months. But going back to Holy City, yeah, this is a Cattleya trianae. Sorry for so much movement with the camera, but and I'm not really sure how to you really got to do that how to read the tags video. I hope you get to it sometime soon. But yeah, so you can see the name. I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but I can read this because it's Spanish and I can read Spanish. It says Cielito lindo, which means pretty sky in Spanish. And so it's a cross. I guess it's a cross between Cattleya trianae, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Corulea. I don't know much about that orchid, but the Cattleya trianae is quite beautiful, and it's like the national flower for Colombia, which is where my family's from. So this is it's kind of dear to my heart. So yeah, so if this one died, I would be devastated. So I am nursing the hell out of this thing. I got it off of eBay, and it was mounted on a piece of cedar. It really wasn't doing much, and my house is really dry, so I had to spray it almost every day just to keep the roots from drying out. And I just finally decided to throw it in this little plastic pot, and it's doing really well. I know some of you think that it's probably sitting, it's probably really wet, but my house is so dry. I just watered this maybe like a couple hours ago, maybe 2 hours ago, and yeah, it's pretty wet right now. But I guarantee you by tomorrow, it won't be bone dry, but it'll be fairly dry. So this is what I have to do to keep these things watered for a good amount of time. But as you can see, it's growing roots, and they look really nice. And you can see the green tips here. That's one side of it, and you can see them here, and even underneath there's one there, and there's one right here, and I think actually this one is trying to kind of come out of this pot through one of these little holes. Maybe this one. You can probably see that right there. But it's throwing out all kinds of roots, and I think it's still a seedling, so I'm not really expecting flowers from it anytime soon. But I'm excited that it's still alive, and yeah, if it died on me, that would be hard. It'd be like losing a sibling. I don't know. Like if my sister, I love my sister to death. I won't even say that, but gee, it would be really hard because I don't know. It's like it's kind of like it's got the Colombian heritage. My family's Colombian. I consider myself Colombian, even though I was born here in the United States. But yeah, everything that has to do with my heritage, it's kind of a big deal for me. I love it. I embrace my heritage, and it's great. I'm really proud. But yeah, and this is a little Sideria japonica or japonica, because in Spanish Japan is Japón. And I saw this the other day, and it has a bud. I hope it'll flower this summer. It's got a root here, and it's got a flower spike right there. I don't think the camera's gonna focus. It sucks, but yeah. So this is a mini maru. So not a lot of people have these either. A lot of people have the larger ones, the more common version of these. So these, I guess these are kind of hard to get. I got this from New World Orchids. And I actually saw her speak. She, I forget what her name is already. But, yeah, she was really nice. And, yeah, she was speaking at the Massachusetts Orchid Society meeting the other night. And I got invited to go, so I went. And, yeah, she just took over the New World Orchids from someone else. And, she's pretty knowledgeable. Oh yeah, and here's the Neophanetia Tamakongo. It's not sitting straight up. When I put it in, you know, I couldn't get it to sit straight because the roots didn't really want to let it sit straight. So I'm not gonna fight with it. You know, in another year it'll probably have another growth, and it'll probably have flowered by then. I'm just going to let the roots establish themselves and just continue to water it and care for it in the way that it's supposed to be cared for, and we'll see what happens. I really love it. It's so cool. The leaves are so small. It's not like these guys. I mean, these guys are kind of like, they look like little pine needles. But this is kind of cool. They call it a vanilla bean, or not vanilla bean. They call it a bean variety because of the leaves. Yeah, really cool, guys. Anyway, so that's my little collection, and yeah, I don't really expect to have like 1,000 viewers, but whoever watches this, thanks. Alright, and I hope to make another video at some point. Bye, guys.